There's a brand new Social Security proposal making headlines in Washington, and at first glance, it sounds like a game changer. But is it truly a solution that will help millions of Americans? Or is it just another piece of political theater designed to score points before the next election? This time, the debate centers on billionaire taxes, office closures, and the way Social Security is actually funded. It's being sold as a way to protect seniors, speed up services, and save the trust fund. But there's a lot more beneath the surface. So here's the question for you. Do you think billionaires should pay more to fund Social Security, or is this simply another bill that will never pass? In this video, we'll break down both sides of the argument, the details of Senator Schumer's Keep Billionaires Out of Social Security Act, and why many experts say it's doomed from the start. If you care about your benefits and your financial security, you'll want to watch this to the end. And don't forget to like and subscribe to Social Security Post for in-depth updates that impact seniors, retirees, and disabled Americans across the country. When it comes to fixing Social Security, Democrats and Republicans have starkly different approaches. On the Democratic side, the focus is on raising revenue by increasing taxes on high earners, particularly by lifting or removing the cap on taxable earnings. This approach is based on the idea that those who have benefited the most from the economy can afford to contribute more, thereby extending the life of the trust fund and potentially boosting benefits for those who rely on them. Supporters argue that without new revenue, the system will face deep cuts within the next decade. Republicans, on the other hand, often focus on reducing costs by cutting waste, cracking down on fraud, and making the program more efficient. Their argument is that the government should work within its means rather than placing additional tax burdens on Americans. They also push for reforms that prevent benefit expansions without stable funding. While this approach can help balance the books, critics point out that aggressive cuts could hurt vulnerable seniors and disabled beneficiaries in the short term. These two philosophies, tax more versus cut more, have been at a stalemate for years, leaving the future of the program in limbo. Under current law, the Social Security payroll tax only applies to the first $176,100 of earned income in 2025. That means someone earning $200,000 pays the same amount in FICA taxes as someone earning millions. For years, Democrats have argued this is unfair and that removing or raising the cap could generate significant new revenue for the trust fund. By targeting billionaires and other ultra-high earners, they believe they can extend the solvency of Social Security and perhaps improve benefits for those who need them most. Critics say this approach is politically unrealistic. Billionaires and wealthy donors have significant influence in Washington, and history shows they often fund campaigns against tax increases that affect them. There's also the concern that if these individuals are asked to pay much more without receiving higher benefits in return, they'll push back harder, making it even less likely the proposal passes. While the tax the rich message resonates with many voters, turning it into law has been one of the most difficult challenges in Social Security reform. Senator Chuck Schumer's proposal is officially titled the Keep Billionaires Out of Social Security Act, a name designed to grab attention. The bill would increase the amount wealthy Americans pay into Social Security by raising their FICA contributions. The additional funds would be used not just to strengthen the trust fund, but also to prevent office closures, hire more SSA staff, reduce wait times, and modernize the agency's systems. On paper, it promises to protect access to benefits for seniors and improve the overall customer experience. However, the title of the bill has been criticized as misleading. By taxing billionaires more heavily, the government would actually be bringing them further into Social Security rather than keeping them out. This has raised questions about whether the bill is more about political messaging than policy reality. The southern tier of New York has been used as a prime example in the bill's promotional materials, but the implications would be nationwide if it were to pass. Political analysts have been quick to point out that the bill faces an uphill battle. Similar proposals to raise or remove the FICA cap have been introduced for decades under both Republican and Democratic administrations, and none have passed. The reason is simple. Washington is deeply divided, and the wealthy interests targeted by the bill have the resources to lobby against it. Without bipartisan support, it's unlikely to move forward. Some experts believe the bill is more of a political tool than a serious legislative effort. By introducing it, Democrats can position themselves as champions of Social Security in the next election. If Republicans vote against it, Democrats can use that as campaign material, saying the opposition blocked efforts to protect seniors. This strategy, while common in politics, often leaves the actual problem unsolved, as the bill itself stalls in committee or fails to gain enough votes. One of the most debated aspects of Schumer's proposal is that it directs new billionaire tax revenue to both benefits and SSA operations. This includes hiring more workers, upgrading technology, and improving service delivery. While these are worthy goals, some critics argue that the SSA's operating budget should come from general tax revenue like most other federal agencies, not from the payroll taxes meant to fund benefits. The concern is that diverting payroll tax revenue away from benefits to cover administrative costs could weaken the trust fund's ability to pay future benefits. In other words, even if service improves, it might come at the cost of long-term financial stability. Supporters counter that without a functional SSA, benefits are meaningless if people can't access them in a timely manner. This creates a delicate balancing act between improving service today and preserving benefits for tomorrow. The Social Security Administration is currently facing its lowest staffing levels in 50 years. Cuts made during the Trump administration, combined with retirements and voluntary departures, have left many offices short-staffed. Some local offices have lost 20 to 25% of their employees, creating a ripple effect that's made it harder for beneficiaries to get help. For seniors and disabled individuals who rely on in-person assistance, these changes have been especially challenging. With fewer staff available, wait times on the phone have skyrocketed, and many callers report being disconnected before they ever reach a live representative. SSA's website has also faced increased traffic and occasional crashes, further frustrating people trying to manage their benefits. Schumer's bill aims to reverse these cuts by hiring more staff and keeping offices open, but without guaranteed funding, it's unclear how sustainable those changes would be. Today's Social Security recipients are facing financial pressures unlike those of previous generations. Rents and home prices have risen sharply, inflation has eroded purchasing power, and everyday essentials cost more than ever. For many, their Social Security check barely covers housing, let alone food, medical expenses, and utilities. This has forced many seniors to seek additional aid through programs like SNAP or housing subsidies. For disabled Americans, the situation is often worse. Many can't work at all, and their benefits are so low that they fall far short of covering basic living expenses. Those who maintain a decent standard of living often do so because they receive multiple sources of income, such as VA benefits stacked with SSDI or private pensions. Without reform, the gap between what Social Security provides and what it actually costs to live will only continue to grow. The Social Security trust funds are projected to run out of reserves within the next decade unless changes are made. When that happens, benefits would be automatically cut by around 20 to 25% to match incoming payroll tax revenue. Supporters of Schumer's bill say raising the cap could delay insolvency by years, giving lawmakers more time to find a permanent fix. However, even with more funding, inflation and the cost of living mean the real value of benefits is shrinking. The program was never designed to provide a full retirement income. It was meant to be a safety net. But with fewer people able to save for retirement and more relying solely on Social Security, the financial strain on the system is greater than ever before. Small reforms may not be enough to close the gap between benefits and real-world costs. Some experts argue that the only long-term solution is to fundamentally change how the trust fund is managed. Instead of holding special issue treasury bonds that earn modest returns, they suggest creating a massive investment fund that could be invested in a diversified portfolio of stocks, bonds, and other assets. Even modest market returns could significantly increase the fund's size over time, providing higher benefits and potentially lowering the retirement age. Of course, this approach carries political and financial risks. Deciding who manages the investments and ensuring they aren't influenced by political interests would be crucial. There's also the risk of market downturns, which could temporarily reduce the fund's value. Still, proponents argue that the current approach is unsustainable and that investing more aggressively could turn Social Security into a program that not only survives but thrives for future generations. Social Security is one of the most popular government programs, and for good reason. It keeps millions of Americans out of poverty. But it's also one of the most politically charged issues, used as a rallying point by both parties. Proposals like Schumer's may be aimed as much at winning votes as they are at fixing the program. For voters, the challenge is separating genuine reform from political messaging. Understanding the details of each proposal and its likelihood of passing is key. Without bipartisan cooperation, no single party will be able to pass the kind of reform needed to ensure the program's long-term survival. That's why informed voting and public pressure are so important. Without them, the future of Social Security will remain uncertain. So, what do you think? Is taxing billionaires more the right way to save Social Security, or do we need a completely different approach? Should the focus be on raising revenue, cutting waste, or investing the trust fund in a new way? These are the questions that will shape the future of benefits for seniors, disabled Americans, and future retirees. We want to hear your thoughts in the comments. Your feedback is important, and your voice matters. If you found this breakdown helpful, please like this video and subscribe to Social Security Post for more updates on Social Security, SSI, SSDI Medicaid, and SNAP. And be sure to join us next time as we look at another major proposal that could change how benefits are calculated for millions of Americans.